and welcome.
Oh, wow. I'm surprised now. So the very first time in the history of AirHacks, the guest, okay, don't say something now.
No, waiting for you. Come on, go for it.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, what happened since last we talked? So you are still busy or on vacations, or what's the deal with you?
Vacation? No, that's not really possible. When you're self-employed, there's no such thing as vacation. You know that. Come on.
Yeah, or I'm always on vacations. There's also the other.
Yeah, exactly. You're basically unemployed permanently. That's right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so when did we speak last? It was like November, October or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I finally managed to write that newsletter that I mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's out there. And it's about the contribution I made to the JDK, which is not a big contribution, but it's a contribution.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's what I did. And but lots of other things as well. I've been writing new courses.
Yeah, this is what I wanted to say. Is okay, from November to now, you've wrote one newsletter, and you're saying you're not on vacations. This is actually not very productive, I would say, for German standards, right?
Yeah, 2022 has been extremely busy for me.
Yeah,
like really, really busy. I hardly. It's one of the years where I wrote the least newsletters, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Let's do the 2022 in review. I never had such a show.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, no. Yeah, absolutely.
So this is the first time in AirHacks FM history where we have a review. So how was the 2022? How was your year, and how was different to 2021 or 2020 or before Corona or whatever?
Well, the funny thing is, not funny thing, 2020, of course, was a disaster. For most people, for me, it was a disaster. But we survived, so, and then 21 was a bit better. And then 22, we did lots of catch up. But it was one of those things where we did a lot of work. And forever taking on new things because I didn't think I'd have enough work. That's always a problem when you've got too much work and you think you're not going to have enough work, so you take on more work. Then you end up being completely overloaded. That's always a challenge when you're self-employed, is to balance it.
The problem is it is impossible to balance, because if you say no too often to customers,
correct,
they will just reject you the next time, right?
That's right. They take it personally. They shouldn't.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And some of the things, like, for example, I wrote a new course on mastering Java 11.
Okay.
And then I'm busy now on mastering Java 17.
This is what I wanted to say. I mean, there's a Java 11 is a little bit...
Yeah, but it's the first step. It's like some people are on Java 8 and they want to go to Java 17. So you first have to get past the Java 11 hurdle before you go to Java 17. So,
and what are the contents of the course? So what are HTTP client or everything?
Yeah, that. And, we actually I did it last night. We spent far more time than I would have wanted to on the collection factories.
Map off and list.
Yeah, they're more subtle than people realize. But I'm not going to tell you the details of that yet.
No, you have to download the course.
I'll tell you another time. Yeah. I'll tell you another time. There's some interesting bits that you should know, but
more than 10, or is something more than 10 issues? Maybe there's something like this, or depends on them.
No, there's really just one issue.
Okay. So do later time. This is a cliffhanger. So there's one issue, and to understand this, you have to download Heinz course.
No,
right?
No. I first have to fix it.
Yeah.
And then submit that to the OpenJDK.
Oh. And then new newsletter happens, how you did it, and then download.
Then we can meet again. That's right.
Okay.
You got it.
I hope that not your first contribution broke the collection, so you have to fix now. This will be a business, opportunity for you. That's to submitting something to JDK, breaking collections, and say, now I have to fix it and create a course. This would be also interesting, business story. No, cool. I'm really, and is it like the people can download and buy the course, right? This is about, or is it...
Not yet. At the moment, it's only on demand. So if somebody wants the course, I'll normally do this in-house courses.
Okay.
Do it as on-site or remote. And I've actually started doing on-site courses again, which I haven't done it yet. I've got an order for one.
Okay.
I haven't actually done it yet. It's quite weird to. I gave my first talk.
I think you won't make it because you completely forgot, what is about airplane, how the airport is working. So you will probably,
yeah. You're completely right. I flew for the first time on the 27th of October since beginning of 2020. I was lost, completely lost. I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to go to. Then I went to Thessalonica to speak at a Java user group, and I had never spoken with my laptop, this laptop that I'm using now, in public. I've only done remote.
Mm-hmm.
I was completely lost. I didn't know where I was going and what I was doing, and I was standing in the wrong place, blocking the view, and it was so weird. My pointer didn't work. I'd never used my pointer before on my laptop because I've never needed it before. So
even worse, I also have a laptop, right? But it's always closed. So I use external keyboard and external monitor. And the first time the laptop is like 2 years old. And the first time I opened it on site on my client, so I go, this is a really beautiful screen. I never saw this, right? But the keyboard was completely different. So I couldn't type on my laptop. They say they thought I'm completely crazy. The Adam Bin Kams is not able to open the terminal. And I say, what's going wrong here? Huh? There's a completely lost HDMI. I never actually tried the HDMI. So it was like, what's wrong with you? I was like, no, sorry, right? Yeah, this is like, on another story, I got a genius idea because usually
here we go, genius idea.
with by trains and by airplanes. But I had one assignment at a conference, and I said I go by car. And actually, it's a waste of time. But if you do it once, it is okay. But I just put something to my navigation system. But there's different route options.
Okay.
And I, of course, it was a preset to the shortest. So,
yes.
and after 5 kilometers, I wondered, this is nice villages, but there is a highway, but why I'm middle nowhere? It was like, woods, and it was beautiful landscape, but it took me like 4 hours more.
Deer walking past you.
Yeah, it was. I actually I want to go again where I was. It was like a lost place in Austria. On the border to check but it's not Czechoslovakia. This is it's a different name now, but you know what I mean. And I would like to see it again, but it was like it was the road as narrow as my car, and I said, okay, I will never make it. Right? This was my business trip. So I'm really curious. The next time you have to report from your business trip.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, I haven't hotels. I'm so out of it. I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I used to speak at 30 conferences a year.
Yeah.
Flying around from conference to conference, and I've got all these invitations in my inbox, and I don't even answer them anymore because I don't. I'm not sure whether I want to go through this whole thing again.
I got a request from a conference in Spain, and yes. I really answered the organizer. It's like, I'm really sorry, but it's a little bit too far. Back then we were everywhere, and now I said, okay, if I do it,
and it's probably too far for you.
No, I mean, I didn't want it to go by plane because I completely, lost the entire, efficiency. It's like if I go to plane the same way I work by car, there's a huge conference, I will never arrive. I say, okay, if you do something in Italy or Austria, maybe we talk again. But Spain is a little bit too far for me because I have, This has happened actually 2 weeks ago, but I was longer email because I didn't want it to say no. It's like, okay, maybe because I said, okay, now I'm not prepared. If I go, I have to book everything earlier. And then I will lose 3 days for a stupid conference. What I did, 3 years ago, I woke up, flew to the conference, and then I was in the evening back, regardless where it was in Europe. This was my approach. But now it would never work. I mean, I don't even have the accounts, to book a flight or whatever. I will have to, to reinstall everything. So, hopefully, no one will listen to the podcast now because.
Also, I was thinking the same. Like, no one's ever going to book us again or invite us anyway.
Yeah.
Look at these people. They're like moving villages. They don't know anything.
Yeah, I can now instead of conference, I can now build a YouTube channel with my trips. Now they'll be more successful than Java, maybe. So Adam in nowhere in the woods.
Lost Adam Bean.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, or please help me. Maybe it's a GPS crowdfunding. Okay, cool. So back to your core. So actually, what are the topics except, of course, map off and list off, which you said is you need entire night to understand it.
A lot of time on modules, actually.
Ah, cool.
Which is very useful to know. Very useful to know the modules, because if you don't know how the modules work, then you sometimes get some really weird errors. Can't explain. And then once you understand the modules work, then it's, okay, you're done. Easy. So that's quite good. I luckily got some help from Nikolai Palok. He's the genius on this stuff. So he gets
he wrote a book about this stuff, right?
Yeah, exactly. So he gets a part of the course fees as well. So he's very kindly allowed me to piggyback off him. He's now working for Oracle, so he can't give the courses at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
But so it's a bit of time with that. I also spend time on looking at the garbage collectors and the performance improvements that we have. String, of course, for all its warts and that is
did application you mean, right, or what?
Pardon, sorry?
String did application mean?
String, like the Java lang string.
Yeah, did application, right? In garbage.
Deduplication.
Deduplication. Sorry.
Deduplication.
Sorry.
Deduplication. Yeah.
Deduplication.
Deduplication.
But the next thing is we don't have to speak. You see right now, so I can even speak. No one understands me anymore because we're just reading deduplication. Okay.
Yeah, this one. I was doing this course for these people in America, and they said to me, "Can we put closed captions on?" Mm-hmm. And I was like, what is that? And in Zoom, you can actually set it up so that it automatically does closed captions. And I said to them, that's not going to work very well for me. They put it on. I put it on, and it's okay. Good luck on that one.
Cool.
Yeah. So deduplication. The interesting thing is you can of course deduplicate your strings to do the shared arrays. And that is now available for all the garbage collectors. It used to only be for G1, but now you can get it for the throughput collector and for Z3C as well, which is, I think, pretty cool.
But it's I think a big deal, right? If you do the deduplication and you have lots of XML parsing, JSON, whatever, it could be actually a huge impact.
It could make a big difference, especially with lots of similar or the same strings over and over again.
What I remember for insurance company back then is we still traveled. So there was a project and they did lots of XML, and the XML arrived as a command from outside. This was a trick. And what we did is there was an own parser, and I did the string intern. You know the intern method?
Yes.
And then everything was slower first.
Yes.
But then it was frequently parsed, and it was much faster. So the entire thing was like a lot faster. I don't know anymore. It was a long time ago, but this was actually this deduplication sounds similar.
So the funny thing with the intern is actually quite slow to call.
Yeah.
However, what you can do and what you should do is to stick a concurrent hash map in front of it.
This is what he did. So you just did intern, and then instead of equals, we use equals as comparison. Don't tell anyone. It worked perfectly.
Yeah, sure. Well, I do that with my dynamic proxies book. I do that for the method names.
Hey, cool. So there's I never told this because I was a little bit afraid that I'm crazy, but it worked well. So
you're gonna have to delete this podcast. You realize that, eh?
Yeah. So what I did, intern and equals instead of equals method, and it was a huge. You're right. So this intern at the beginning was really slow, but equals was faster. But the question is, if we do G1, do I still need the intern? No more.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Because most strings are quite short, right? Mm-hmm. Most strings are quite short, and if the string is too short, then the deduplication only is saving the array.
Okay.
Not the string. The string is, I think, something like 24 bytes for the string object. And then the array is going to be whatever, 16 bytes plus the actual bytes as the characters. So if you've got a string that's, for example, 5 characters long, if you deduplicate it, you're going to save the array, which is going to be, 24 bytes. You're going to save 24 bytes. But if you so it's going to be 48 bytes in total, 24 bytes for the string object and 24 bytes for the arrays. You save the 24 bytes, but not the whole 48 bytes. So most strings are actually quite short, and deduplication doesn't save you as much as you can with intern. As I said, the problem with intern is only that the biggest problem is that it's a native method call, and if you simply put a concurrent hash map in front of it, that's the concurrent hash map, you're just going to say computer absent, and the generator for the value is going to be string : intern. So that means that the first time that you try and find that string, you're going to call intern, but every time after that, you're just going to go and get the values directly from the hash map. So it gives you very fast performance.
This is a cool trick. So you are misusing the hash map to invoke intern only once.
Correct.
So this is what I do. What we did, because Yeah, and this is what we did with the command, because the XML arrived once to the system, and it was in memory, so we called intern once there, and then just use equals because we can rely that everything is there, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, cool. This is actually a cool trick. It's a cool pattern, actually.
You do realize that strings that have been interned, if they're not referenced from anywhere else, can be garbage collected.
Yeah, but just thinking about, because the pattern in general is cool, not just for intern, but in general, right? Because if you have something which is like a cache, right? Yeah, that's
yes, exactly.
Yeah,
as long as you throw it away afterwards.
The pattern is called cache. So we should delete the podcast, right? Yeah. Pretty cool.
The other
actually.
thing is that Java 11 has I don't know if it's the first time, but I think it's the first time where they've got the what's it called, Java Flight Recorder built in as for anybody to use. So you can actually do your flight recordings and make your and collect events about your system, write your own events to add to the system, and then you can analyze that with the JDK mission control. It's
exactly
open source now,
which is great.
Yeah, it's absolutely great.
Yeah, and actually the full story of that is that it was actually not an Oracle invention, rather than JRocket, right? This was the Swedish company, and they bought it, and then they merged it with the hotspot.
And then Oracle bought BA, and then they. The funny thing with Oracle is they actually, Sun and Oracle, they both have the tradition of trying to commercialize stuff. Like many years ago, I think it was like 2004, somewhere around there. Sun Microsystems announced that from now on you have to pay for NetBeans. Don't know if you ever picked that up. It was like a short period where they said you can use it, but you have to pay now if you use it for commercial stuff or something like that. They tried to commercialize it.
I would actually pay, because I was accustomed to pay for everything. So I would say, okay.
Yeah. I said to them, okay, I guess, why not?
There's nothing wrong with pay for commercial tools, right? I
buy most of my, I don't steal my computers, I buy my computers as well. So
yeah, but I have a complete IntelliJ Toolbox subscription, and I don't use this very often, but still a good feeling to support someone, right? So I use Visual Studio Code, but if someone asks, I can open my IntelliJ, show them. So
wow,
yeah.
Aren't you a Java champion?
I'm a Java champion, yeah.
Okay, so you do get that for free if you want. But you want to pay rather. Okay.
I didn't know that, but maybe they need some support,
I don't think they need your support. I think the fact
then I will call them. It's like, why picking money from me if I'm a Java champion? I forgot to tell you this, right? You're also a Java champion, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Meanwhile, everyone is Java champion. The problem is they go bankrupt, with this strategy.
No. They're not that many Java champions. It's like, I don't know, 500 or something, 400 Java champions.
500? That's crazy.
I don't know how many. I've got no idea. It's something like that.
Okay.
It's quite a few. If you go to javachampions.org, you can see exactly.
But we have 600 Java developers worldwide right now, because everyone else does, what it all go.
So almost everybody's a Java champion. It's true, isn't it?
Yeah, this is cool.
And the thing is that we've got like billions of lines of Java code. So that's actually, in the future, we will be able to do everything, just the Java champions.
Yeah. Yeah, cool. So this was actually a good hint.
I did buy the very first license of IntelliJ. I did. And then in those days, it never expired. So you just bought it once, you had it forever. But then new versions came out, and I said to them, please, can I have the new version? And they said, okay. And then I said, please. They kept on begging, and they always gave me the new one. And but then now that I'm a Java champion, or that they do give it for free for Java champions.
But you were always champion when you become a champion.
I've been a champion almost right from the beginning.
Yeah.
I
think it was 2007 I became something.
Yeah, you were quite near the beginning. I was 2005.
Oh.
They started the program in 2005, and I was like one of the first people that they got in there. I was very lucky because I happened to meet some wonderful people from Sun Microsystems in Cape Town. They were doing a talk, a conference in Cape Town, and I said, well, do you want to go for a drive? So I took them around. We ate dinner together. And,
okay.
And, they paid for the dinner. I didn't pay for the dinner, which was very nice of them. But, yeah, that's why they went bankrupt, Sun Microsystems, right?
That's actually a cool thing. So you had a nice day, you got the dinner, and you became Java champion.
Yeah, and then as soon as I started the program, they said to the evangelist, "Hey, do you know anybody who should be a Java champion?" I said, and then immediately said, "Oh, Heinz should be."
Yeah, very good. Cool. So there's a cool strategy. So I have to, you see, that we will lose the opportunity. So we have to attend more conferences, go to dinners, and we become
and be friendly to the speakers. Invite them for dinner. Let them pay, but invite them for dinner. Show them around.
Yeah.
And the next time that something cool comes up, they'll think of you. That's right. It's good
because the next thing is maybe around. There is no more champions, maybe masters or whatever. Wizards. Java wizard.
The next thing is Java gods, I think they're going to do.
Oh, so like Marvel Universe, right?
Yeah, I think so. Exactly. Marvel Universe.
I would like to be
Java Universe.
The black one. How is it called? Not the
the Panther, not the Panther.
No. The friend of Thor. No, the brother of Thor. The brother of Thor.
Loki, not Loki.
Yeah. This Loki or Thor. So Thor would be great, but you are more Thor, as you see. You are the. But Loki will be cool actually. So the Java Loki.
Yeah, okay. I think you'll be the mischievous Loki. That's the one that you'll be. Exactly. Good idea.
Or Mr. Strange, or how it's called, Mr. Strange, right? The Doctor Strange.
Yeah. I must be careful now because my daughter is a complete Marvel fan, and if she hears me on this podcast stumbling over who is who, I'm going to be in big trouble.
Okay, so there's one reason more to delete the conversation, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. So we had a did application. I was just thinking about the weak hash map because a concurrent hash map is still cool. Cool idea actually. Yeah, to use a cache for the intern.
Just in front of it, and then throw it away because you don't want to keep it. Otherwise, you end up with memory leaks.
Really, your course is really cool because. In my course, it's more like, Hello World with everything, and you are going really deep, right? So this is the difference. So your course is more like how to build performance software or how to understand what's going on.
It's the trick with a course is never what you put in. The trick is what you don't put in. That makes a good course.
Yeah, this is very good in my case because there's almost nothing. If my clients ask me for agenda, I'm already sweating. It's like, what I can do, right? So it's like, okay. because it never happens, whatever you have on the agenda, the first question destroys everything. So this is
Well, that's the thing. I mean, you're doing a course. The courses we do aren't just rubber stamps. They are live products, and they're custom for the person. So if you get together and they want to know something, okay, well, let's look at that. It's fine. That's how a course I think is supposed to be.
Yeah,
it's far more interesting than if you have this very boring. Okay, now we're doing the next slide.
This was I actually maybe one reason why Sun was bankrupt because I did trainings for them, and
okay, so that's why they did them bankrupt.
And they had actually the idea. This was at the beginning, and I was supposed to use the Sun reference implementation for Java E deployments.
Really?
And NetBeans was before I like NetBeans. So the NetBeans was where you had to mount the jars. So it was no class path. I mean, mount jar. The name alone is dangerous, right? And the first day I say, okay, reference implementation is nice, but no one uses this. So let's go with Whitefly. So I actually used complete different stack, which was actually proposed by NetBeans. It was really not great, but we can use Xdoclet and Eclipse, and this is what I did. Yeah, Xdoclet, and this is what happened in the courses. At the end, of course, I guess no one passed, the exam at the end because it was completely different, But this is what I did. But people like that actually. But this is why I'm very with you. The agenda doesn't matter actually.
So, are you a certified Sun Oracle certified something?
Not Oracle, Sun everything. Oracle nothing. So I'm Sun Java programmer, developer. For fun, I wanted to have all certifications back then.
Yeah.
Architect, but the hardest was the programmer because as I did the programmer at the beginning, you didn't even knew how many answers are right. They didn't tell you this. There's multiple choice without knowing what's right. How many?
But sometimes there were none correct.
Maybe. But this was like what I remember, and never saw such a question. I did it in 1997, but I still, remember some questions. The first one was
array. You're not supposed to say the questions.
Yeah, maybe then they will cancel my certification. Now I will lose all my jobs. But exactly. Don't listen to this. Int A, and the brackets before A and after A. Then brackets, brackets, A, brackets, brackets, and int brackets, A brackets. What is correct? And I say, why? I never wrote such a code. What is correct, right? And the answer was everything. So actually, you can put the brackets whatever you like. Or I said, okay, I was the first question. I was done. My pass was my pass was 200. I was like, I will never become Java programmer. I was like, you can forget it completely. And also the next question, I also remember, switch at default comes first, and then case. And I said, who writes such a thing? And this was
Does that even work? I've never tried that.
I think it works. I forget, but I remember there's two questions, and the other questions were normal, but this was crazy.
No, man.
Yeah, so I'm certified, and I did the certification. Yeah, but this is now a little bit more. So, but back to your course, I'm really curious. What's inside? What is supposed to be first? What happens? No one knows. But what is the rough agenda? So we have the deduplication of strings with garbage collector.
It's a bunch of stuff on strings. It's not only that. It's a bunch of other things as well. The deduplication is before that anyway. It's what's more interesting for Java 11 and onwards is the fact that using only 1 byte per character for most strings, the compact strings. So because the deduplication happened before that. I mentioned it, but it's Java 8, so it's not really part of that. So it's the compact strings, but then I also mentioned the interns and the deduplications, just so people know how they can optimize the strings.
Cool.
But the other things as well, like as I mentioned, we've got a coffee. Oh, thank you, young man. I'm having a live interview with my.
Thank you for the coffee. Germany.
So what we're talking about. So we had this. The deduplication was, of course, one part of it. But the other things as well, like, as I said, using Java Flight Recorder to diagnose problems, to find problems. It's all to do with performance, the whole thing with the G1 collector, how it works, a little bit more about that. And just trying it out. I've got this really nasty demo, which just absolutely slams G1. It's just a few lines, but it's so nasty. What I do is I create a linked list of 1 million entries.
Oh, this is, the script algorithm?
No.
This is like, this is what happens if you would like to slow down the hashing. There's, I think one is called Argon, and the other algorithm is like Script, I think is the name. And but it's not Java. They are generating, pointers in memory, and they have to traverse the pointers to slow down the CPU because it's not possible to execute that on a GPU.
Okay.
So this sounds like this. So what you do is almost like this.
You've got 1 million pointers to navigate, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But then what you do is you copy the linked list into another linked list, and you do that over and over again. And G1 just like collapses in a heap of,
Okay.
The other ones are quite good. Others manage quite well, but G1 absolutely collapses.
Now we call this a nested list pattern, right? So that's a best practice, said it.
Well, it's not a nested list. It's just a copy of the list, and then I throw the list away. So it's just basically, it's just generating garbage, but generating garbage that's expensive to collect and to analyze and so on.
How you find the thing? That is, you analyze, you know how it works, and you say, okay, then should be trouble with the list, or why you got such idea?
I just thought, let me do something nasty. So I did that. I thought nobody likes linked list. Linked list is horrible. Let me do that one. And it just worked out that it's a great one to demonstrate the problem.
It seems like you like break things, right? Because the last time you said that you also had some, is the empty streams, and think what you contributed was also, you try to find
empty streams. Yes, empty streams. Yeah.
And you also broke the loom, right, at the beginning.
Yeah. But I think it's a lot more solid now.
Yeah. But this is what happens with you.
Yeah,
right?
of course. So what I'm doing at the moment is I'm actually looking at records. Because for my Java 17 course, and records are really interesting because, first of all, they've got hash code and equals built in, but I don't think that part is really a selling point for it. The toString, yes, I like the toString. I like the fact that you don't have to write the accessor methods, but the hash code and equals, that by itself is not really, I think, a selling point for a record, to use a record.
Especially if you add, a complex object to a record, what is supposed to happen, right? Because with the simple data types, how it's called, the basic data types in Java, primitive data types is the name, primitive data types. It will work, but if you put, your own domain object, you have to, it will only can call equals and hash code in your domain object. And if you don't do nothing, then it doesn't work, right?
Well, it's just going to call it's going to call the equals on your domain object, right?
Yeah, but if there is not implemented on the domain object.
My point is that I think it's been oversold. Normally, when people speak about records, they advertise the fact that it does hash code and equals.
Okay. I never thought about this. This is an easy way to transport data for me. It generates, the getters, and
exactly.
This is what I like. Yeah,
exactly. And that's, I think, the model we should be using.
Yeah, and there's another great, I think, feature of records is records inside a method. Yes. You could use a record as a pair. You can add, constructors and method, and I use all the time. If you have a Java 8 stream, plus stream, you can use record, to mangle the data. So it's a great utility.
I was doing that yesterday in the one class.
Me as well. But not in project, not a class.
Yeah. And but unfortunately, it was still the Java 11 course, so I couldn't use records. Mm-hmm. But I used.
But as I know you say, okay, this is Java 11 course, but we can switch to Java 17, right?
No. I did show them what it looks like, but I did it with an anonymous inner class.
Okay, sure.
Mm-hmm. And that's quite interesting because you can actually define the anonymous inner class inside the stream, and then yes,
but it's like Lambda, right?
But then because the type, your type is actually the anonymous type. Mm-hmm. Java's smart enough to be able to still access the private fields or the fields of that anonymous type. Mm-hmm. It's like if you say var, right? You say var.
Yeah.
Type equals new.
This is like what happens in Builder. If you have a builder inside a class, the builder can access the private fields of the class, right?
No, that's a bit different. Okay. You see, normally when you, in the past, before you had Java 10 with var, if you made an anonymous type, you would have to say the type, for example, object or runnable. Let's say runnable. Mm-hmm. Runnable equals new runnable, and you'd have the open curly brace and you'd have the class inside there. However, if you then have a field defined inside the anonymous type, then you would not be able to access that because your handle is too runnable, right? So this has been like this since Java 1.1.
Almost like closure, right?
But if you take Java 10 and you make it a var, then you can access that.
The field inside.
Yes.
Oh, cool. I learned something now.
Yeah. So if you don't have records, you just make an anonymous type, stick the two values in there, and you're good to go. But the record's better. I definitely prefer records for that.
Yeah, records are really good. But what happens to me with records in projects, I always start with record, and then I say, I have to mutate something, and 80% of my records become classes. But it's okay. So you can start with record and just migrate to classes.
Yeah.
And what also great, I use interfaces a lot. For instance, factories. All my factories are interfaces. No static, create, done. And the interfaces are really cool because you can leave off all the public and whatever, all the noise. They're really lean and simple. Yeah. Mm-hmm. They're actually cool stuff in modern Java, right?
Yeah, it's very nice. It's very nice. And now that it's not the popular language anymore, it feels a bit more exclusive and better.
But I always think it will come back because Java is also crazy fast. So if you compare it with other languages, you have to do a lot, right, to achieve the same performance. And what I appreciate the most Java is not maybe features more than absence of features. It's really hard in Java to write program which an average Java programmer with some time won't understand, right? So, Java is really simple because it is chatty but simple. And I don't know whether you have any experience with Scala. So I wanted to use Scala and I took a look, I click on the library and then why level up? I couldn't, what's going on? There's just a cryptic, characters or whatever. And I ask, the Scala people say, yeah, but because you are the app developer and not the library developer, the other stuff is only understandable by library developers. And so, okay, then I'm not interested, right? But in Java, what I frequently do, I click on the source code and you can understand mostly everything, right? What happens, it is not like, it is, of course, sometimes the code is compact, but a little bit of time you can understand everything, which is really appreciate, right?
I actually did a teardown course where I took the ArrayBlockingQueue and I went through it in absolute depth to say exactly
this is
what it
cool
was.
Idea.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It's it's really interesting, and I learned so much about about how these guys think that have written this code. And the funny thing is, listen to this one. This is funny. The array blocking queue has weakly consistent iteration, which they implement using weak references. Right. But the two terms are completely unrelated. It's just weakly consistent iteration implemented with weak references.
Yeah.
So it was like one of my favorite things I ever did was making these courses.
But you say it's not related. So weak reference means that if this is, you can specify what it is. This is phantom reference, weak reference, and the third one. There are three references, right? Soft, phantom, soft, phantom, and weak.
And weak. Yes.
And phantom is nice, right? Because phantom means it is you cannot use
really useful. Phantom is really useful. That one we use as a cleaner, right? So finalize is going away.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's a cleaner.
Yeah.
That's how it's implemented. But it's really funny because the weak reference has to do with memory.
I understood weekly reference. Like, this is cool. No, there's a reference which only works once a week. Also cool,
Yeah, weekly. I like that.
Week. You have to go joke. Today we are speaking about weekly and monthly references.
Gets collected once a week.
Yeah,
Connects yearly references
with a complete cron, support built in. Yeah.
No, it's a weekly consistent iteration.
Yeah, okay.
So that's talking about thread safety and weak reference. But it's interesting because normally when you make an iterator, you create an iterator, and the collection loses all references to its iterators. Because if the collection kept a pointer to its iterators, you'd easily create a memory leak.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But with
you would always create memory leak because every iterator would be forever there. Right. This would be a memory leak.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Exactly.
Yeah.
Except you could say that once you reach the end, that you remove that iterator from the collection.
Yes. But you have to explicitly call remove, or you try with resources or whatever. It would be your job.
No. What you'd have to do is to wait until until hasNext is false. Yeah. And then you remove it. At that point, you remove it.
Yeah. But are actually iterators AutoCloseable?
No.
Okay. This is what I didn't know.
No. Streams are. I think streams are. No, I'm not sure if streams are. Streams are closable. I'm not sure if the AutoCloseable. Oh, this is something else. That the ExecutorService in Java 19 is now AutoCloseable.
Very cool.
Which is really cool. So you can close it automatically. Anyway, back to the weakly consistent. The array blocking queue does have a pointer to all its iterators.
But by a week.
But they're weak, so that they don't cause memory leaks.
Maybe we talk about this. You know what was the first killer use case of weak references?
No, tell me.
Swing, actionlessness.
Really?
Yeah. The problem was before weak references. Yeah, or AWT or Swing. What I remember is before weak references, all the if you closed window, the action because you had the reference, it was not garbage collected.
Okay.
This was one of the killer use cases.
Oh yeah, because anonymous is anonymous type. That's why. But how would you do that?
I mean, you only wait a second. It's a long time ago. Was the Swing, but the main idea was back then. So if you are in a window and you have a button, so the button has the action listener, which is maintained in an action listener list, and if you close the window, the button is pointless. So you can garbage collect everything.
Yes.
But the problem was if you close the window, the listener was still in the list of in the main thread or whatever. And the button, or in worst case, the entire window was not garbage collected. So it was only the problem in Swing if you had multiple dialogues or whatever. If you open and close the dialogue all the time, this was the first problem.
Yeah. And the thing is that the action listener, because you normally construct it as anonymous type, it's going to have a pointer to the enclosing object as well.
Yeah, and the action listeners were maintained in a list internally, and this is exactly. And this is what, at least I never verified that, but this was from Sun, and it actually solved our problems. We had actually in huge applications memory leaks with that, and then was solved, and yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that.
What I wonder is actually, you see how well thought and prepared our podcast is, right? This is
amazing. It's really structured.
Crystal clear thread. From topic to topic. From my excursion in the woods, now to Swing and weak hash map. But the thing with the weak reference is a really cool idea, actually, what you said with array blocking queue. That this is also general pattern, right? What the iterator is a kind of a proxy to the collection. So you say, hey, use the iterator and you can iterate over me, but this is like, an outpost. Yeah. And maybe all the outposts could be a weak references because, whatever is outside there and it represents the actual, object. Mm-hmm. The same would be true for result set in JDBC. Similar problem and all the thing. Actually, interesting pattern.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's a general problem. As I said, it's the only place that I found where they keep hold of the iterators is the ArrayBlockingQueue.
Cool. The whole course. This is actually crazy. And who books your courses? Is like the brokers?
Well, this particular one is a self-study course. It's basically a 4-hour excursion into a very detailed excursion. It's and I did another one as well, which was on the copy and write array list and array set.
Copy and write is cool.
Very, very interesting as well to look at that stuff. But normally my courses are not like that. Normally they are sort of classroom courses with exercises and demos and so on. But this was just like a very deep dive into something. Because as you said, I go very deep into stuff. If you just want shallow, well, read a book. Or you can go to ChatGPT and say...
Or you can go to my course, or you can attend my courses, you get, 500 topics, but just...
Right. Yeah, with you do everything. And like one afternoon you do the whole of Java from Java.
Yeah, of course. And then this is now a 5 years time, to read all the books after my course.
How many books have you written by now, by the way?
I stopped writing them in 5 years ago, but I think 5 or 6, 7 or something like this.
Okay.
But they are Java ebooks. Is nothing with your depth. It's just in transactions and stuff. Yeah.
Right.
But why I stopped writing them is because of travels. I only wrote books because I was bored in trains and there was lots of dead time. So only in the time I wrote books. So if I published a book fast, you meant I travel a lot. No kidding. I really hated to sit in the office and write a book because of waste of time. I only wrote in taxis, trains, airplanes. This was my no kidding. This is really it was that way.
Exactly what you're saying. I know exactly what you're saying. I started my newsletter sitting in Frankfurt at the airport waiting for my flight. And I had a piece of paper and I said, you know what? Let me just start writing down some ideas of what I can write about. And then I started.
And you feel better because then this traveling makes sense,
Yes, you've actually used your time constructively.
Yeah, exactly. Or in the hotel, in the nights, instead of watching TV, I never actually turn out TV on my hotel room. I just wrote something, which makes sense. All the articles. But, since Corona, everything was optimized. Okay, no books, no articles, just projects.
Interesting, huh?
This is the reason, actually. This is people like, I'm jobless. Actually, the opposite is true. I have so many interesting projects right now, but no time to write something, right? So this is the problem.
I completely understand and agree, and it makes me feel better about my tardiness this year when it comes to my newsletter, because I just haven't done that, or last year at least, I haven't done that many. I've just been too busy. Just too busy. It's just how it is. And you're right. If when you travel, you waste a lot of time. Yeah. And if you can take advantage of that time, why not? Do something.
It's also dangerous because I was very efficient with my time when I traveled. So I spent time with projects, and the remaining time I wrote some stuff. Yes. And then Corona happened, and I said, okay, I don't travel anymore. I have endless time. And I say to everyone, yes. And then I noticed, that is actually not much difference, traveling or not traveling, because maybe I spent, just 1 hour, which I couldn't do because I drove to the airport. Everything else was already scheduled, even in the taxi. And I said, okay, and then I was really sweating also the last 2 years because there was a lot to do, and there was not enough time, to do this.
Yeah, and in that circumstance, you often take on work at a rate which is not good for you.
Exactly. Now it's better this year, but this was actually we also supposed not to cover this in the podcast, which we of course will do maybe, but but your course is more interesting. There's a lot of stuff you're saying there now, and Yeah.
The thing is, it's 2023, right? I was really surprised that anybody would still want to know about Java 11.
This surprised me as well, because I used Java 17 for ages. I don't know how old Java 17 is.
Yeah, I'm using Java 19 on my website. So
this is what I'm not doing, because I'm always waiting for LTS. All my clients have, the LTS, and Java 17 is fine.
Yeah, of course. For my clients, I'd recommend Java 17 too, but for myself, I'm using the latest because, eat your own dog food.
Mm-hmm.
You have to. I have to be on the latest. So
the problem is my problem is if you use, for instance, Java 17. Minor thing, there is to list, stream to list.
Yes.
In Java 11, you have to use collectors, whatever, to list. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So if I would use in my leisure newer Java than in work, it would be even worse. I don't know the keyboard anymore, and then I even forgot the syntax, because I say, okay, why there is no to list? Because they are using old Java. So I try to stick at least in my leisure to this what I do at work. So Java 17 right now. In Java 19 sometimes, so not too much, because really it is really hard to know, what is there is not there for me if you use it too much.
I do understand what you're saying. The thing is, in the past, we had these 3-4 years between versions, and it was very clearly it was clear to know whether you're doing Java 6 or 7 or 8. You really knew what you were doing. Mm-hmm. Whereas now it all flows into each other. And for me, I struggle to keep apart what's where.
Mm-hmm.
I can... Like I don't know if records came in Java 15 or 16. I think it's Java 16. But if you say Java 17, it's there for sure.
Mm-hmm. But they came 14 or 15. So records were earlier, I think. But this is also what I always have to look up.
I think they were in preview in Java 14.
Okay.
And I think they were released in Java 16, but I don't know. I would not even bid a Bavarian beer for that one.
Okay, just South African one, right?
No. Well, yeah, okay, that's not beer.
But another cool pattern is, the visitor pattern can go for, right? So if you're visiting stuff, if you couple the visitor with the, how it's called, instance of auto casting, pattern matching, exactly. This is actually cool, because what it does then, it's okay if you put, you build visitor, and now the first is visitor with object as a parameter. Then the instance of thing, and it recognizes, okay, now you are, I don't know, Heinz. And only Heinz is casted to Heinz, and you can do. So it's actually nice little things which are really useful.
I don't get that. Honestly, I don't. I'm not quite sure. I haven't thought about it in depth. But the visitor pattern to me is so easy. I don't understand.
I give you a concrete example. So I did recently something with infrastructure as code on AWS. And the problem is, they can do this with Java. But if you really have to hack a new thing, so you have to go deeper. There are several levels.
Okay.
And the upper level is like, you have type safe. And if you go down, then you get just nodes.
Okay.
But the nodes have types. So, and the entire parsing happens to you. So the AWS parses the stuff for you. Mm-hmm. And I just listen to the node. And then inside the node, I said, okay, if you are instance of cluster, whatever, then set the feature. I was done with one-liner. This was the concrete case I had actually. Right. And this is visitor pattern implemented for me. And because I wouldn't implement it by myself, it's too much work. But if there is an listener where you can hook in, it worked great, and it works until now. Okay. So I was surprised how nice it actually is, right? So it was like, okay, now we can. And another one is, sometimes I have to convert back from JSON types to Java types. So the similar story. There's just JSON value, and there's like string, number, whatever. Switch would be better, but there is no switch right now, so I use if. There's no if with the pattern matching is also nice, so it's nicer. But this one actually, infrastructure as code, this was a killer feature, because this was like killer feature. It was just 2 lines of code and it solved my problem. Done.
Yeah, in my code, I've used instance of very sparingly.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you have too many instance of, means you don't get polymorphism, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's a bad smell usually.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're right. HTTP client, you covered Java 11 or not?
Yeah, of course, obviously, of course, yes. And that's quite fun as well. With the whole reactive source built into that, and the asynchronous. It's a really, really fun exercise as well to do.
Yeah, and I'm already happy or lucky with the WebSockets and everything which is support there. This is in Java 17, I think. There's not in Java 11. So the Java WebSockets and SSE will come to Java 17, which is crazy actually. So
what does it give you? What does it give you, the WebSockets?
Client. The server is, if you need a server, pick Tyrus, Tyrus. This is like Java reference implementation. So it gets you the WebSocket client.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Oh, I mean, there is no real client because sockets are peer-to-peer. So you need to know the first one, which starts, this is not the HTTP, it would be a server.
Yeah.
And WebSockets are coming more and more, actually. So, yeah.
Okay. So what are you using WebSockets for at the moment, if I ask?
Web apps for notifications. So if you're building...
so it's bi-directional communication.
Yeah, but it is more pragmatic than you may think. So what you can do is you have a front end. We use web components in the front end with JavaScript, and it writes back to the server. Mm-hmm. And now the point is you can do the front end completely asynchronous in the way that you are never waiting until HTTP completes. So you do the fetch in JavaScript, which is asynchronous, and now it comes. Yeah. You can push back the answer with SSE or WebSockets.
Okay.
So if the server is done, the back channel is WebSockets, and this is supported in JavaScript, so it receives the message and updates the UI, and we are done. So this is for asynchronous application, it's coming more and more. This is the thing, and I actually do a lots of CLI stuff with Java, lots of tools which we need, and I thought already you're using Java modules for that, because if you have CLI, you could have small modules with plugins, and WebSockets in CLI also not that crazy because you can get notification if something is done.
Right. They also have a web server now built into Java. And I think Java
this is a cool one. Also useful. This is the J web server or whatever. And you can start it and for what I did, for instance, I misused that to debug headers. You can start the server with -O, I think, and then I started my client, which talked to the server, and I saw all the headers. This was a quick hack.
That's useful.
Yeah. And if you have, let's say, a JavaDoc, right? You thought about, you can download JavaDoc and serve the JavaDoc locally or something like this. So, or indexing. So I'm thinking about, create my own index of JavaDoc. If I had time, this would be the next thing I would do because I'm, cool stuff actually.
If you're going to take drives to the forest, you're not going to have time, right?
No. The next time I will completely configure my navigation system the proper way. I will inspect whether it is viable, or otherwise I will have to buy a Jeep or something that you go.
You need to get yourself a Tesla which drives without anything. You can sit on your laptop and work whilst it's getting it by itself.
Yeah, in theory, yeah, sure, it would be cool. I think that they caught someone in Berlin, and he's now he slept in Tesla yesterday.
He slept in his Tesla.
Yeah. And he's now a criminal in Germany because he did it. So they were even worse. It's like, okay, after our podcast with Heinz, I bought Tesla and now I'm in jail, right? Because I tried to write an article while driving, But actually, Tesla could solve my problems, actually, right? So I could travel around. I don't care. I could actually, during travel, do other online conferences during traveling, and then write articles. They will be even better than before.
Yeah, exactly.
I will actually remove the entire, how it's called, steering wheel, because it would be...
Yeah, because it's in the way with the laptop, you need some space.
Yeah, and
you could sit in the passenger seat.
Even better, and also I don't need all the horsepower. Would be like 50 would be enough, because if it goes too fast, it is a little crazy to ride. So like 50 horsepower and go, on the country road, nothing can happen. There will be range like 2,000 kilometers with my Tesla.
Any problems if you get stuck halfway without a battery, then you're really going to be in trouble.
I wouldn't care. I pick the solar panels with me, so I could have on the roof everything. So like waiting for the sun.
Solar panels in Germany is not going to work, my friend. You need to come to Crete for that.
Okay. This is we already have a nice Lifehacks podcast, right? So this would be a good title. Heinz and Adam's life hacking.
Lifehacks.
Lifehacks.
Lifehacks. Oh, Lifehacks.
Lifehacks. Cool. So, just curious, what else in the course? Maybe we make rough through the agenda. So, HTTP is cool.
HTTP client, of course. Never look, because I don't know. Now you ask me these questions. I'm supposed to know what's in the course. I don't know. It's basically all the stuff that's interesting. Yes.
Heinz, my course, all this stuff is interesting.
Yeah, of course. It's basically is stuff about encapsulation, it's JPMS, it's your enhanced deprecation. It's a multi. Oh, this is quite fun. I've never actually used it in the real world, but it's just a cool idea. It's a multi-release jar files.
Yeah,
it's so cool. So you
but
can
this
have
is older one. This is older than Java 11, right?
No.
No?
It's not Java 11. It's
How
Java
old is Java 11 actually? I mean, because this is a really
It's old.
How old?
It's I don't know, but it's this is JEP 2.3.
But I would say at least in your course you have to say, okay, Java 11 is from this year, and
Well, it's basically 6 years before Java 17, right?
When was Java 17?
No, sorry, 3 years before Java 17. So it's 4 years ago.
Oh, not
not
that old. I thought it was older. Mm-hmm.
No, but it's multi-release Java jar file, so you can have multiple versions of classes inside one jar file.
Mm-hmm. But I forgot. It depends on what, right? So you have to you can build it even with Maven. I did it. I had actually one use case for that, but I forgot it. So it's depending on what is taken. Say it again.
What you do is you create a jar file in a certain way.
Yeah.
You set the manifest to be that it's a multi-release jar file, and then depending on the Java version, it's going to use different classes.
Exactly. So depending on Java versions, but are there different triggers than Java versions? Can you say depending on whatever? Then use this or this.
It's just the version. So you're going to have the default one for Java 8, and then you're going to have Java 9 will be inside your manifest, inside your meta inf. You'll have a Java 9 directory with the class of Java 9, Java 11, Java 17, whatever you want. We'll have then different classes there. I can't think of a use case myself, to be honest. I mean, if I was writing a library that people are using, you could have, if you want to support old versions, you could do it that way. Mm-hmm. But I don't see a great benefit of it. But
no, testing is nightmare, right? So this is the problem.
So what I did with all of my sections, I basically looked at the importance of priority and how much space. So this was like a priority 4 out of 5. So it's not very big priority. So we just spent a bit of time. I'll just show them how it works. Mm-hmm. We run a demo to try it out, but it's not an important thing. But then for the performance compact strings, string concatenation, the flight recorder, and the G1 collector. We also look at, just briefly, epsilon.
And J-Link?
Which one, sorry?
J-Link is later than Java 11.
J-Link. I didn't actually cover J-Link. I mentioned it, but that's part of JPMS.
But you have almost, because there's no more Java runtime environment, right? So the J-Link is supposed to be the replacement, right?
Yeah. Well, that's part of the JPMS. It's part of the modules.
Okay, and it's always impressive, to show this to attendees. They like it for unknown reasons. I don't know because
Okay, I'll put it in.
Because I did even a YouTube screencast. It got lots of feedback. So people I don't use J-Link a lot because I just I'm happy with the entire JDK. But people just love to optimize. So this is to give them J-Link and they're happy.
I will do it. I will add that to the course.
Yeah, very good. So now use J-Link. So the title of the course is, all you need is in my course. What you don't need is not there. This would be actually the perfect agenda.
Well, it's always the thing is like how much do you leave out? That's always the question because when you're doing a course, you don't want to have too much stuff that you then overwhelms people that are not going to use. Mm-hmm. I think the flight recorder is useful to know. Mm-hmm. I mentioned the Epsilon GC because
flight recorder is extremely useful. No kidding.
Yes,
so I'm with for real world projects. Is if you're running something seriously, flight recorder is very important.
Yeah, it is absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And now you can stream them as well, which is really cool. The events.
Yeah, stream events, and you can record the events and give you the file afterwards. It can be compressed really well. So in production, so concretely, it was years ago. So what happened that my client had some problems with Java EE or application servers and synchronization and memory leaks. So they recorded, they zipped it, they gave me this, and I could actually tell what was wrong after the facts. This was crazy.
Yeah, that's amazing.
It's really amazing. This is actually, I don't know whether there's a flight recorder in Go or Rust, but if they notice that, everyone is back in Java, I would say. Don't tell anyone that. Because then we get more Java developers than champions after the fact.
Yeah, but the thing is, some of the Java champions don't do Java anymore.
Oh, they should be cancelled. I mean,
they should. But who does the cancelling? Unless they.
So wait a second. We are now the Java champions garbage collectors. GC, and we will cancel everyone who promotes whatever Kotlin or another thing. If you are Kotlin, out. Then we will remain the only two, Marvel universe.
I think we might be the only two left. Then for the language, we looked at the local variable type inference.
Mm-hmm.
And
this var, you mean, right?
Yeah, var.
Yeah.
What's interesting, I looked in the Java base project, JDK, and they use it 0.8% of times.
Yeah, I had a discussion with Stuart Marks because he says, they have specific rules about var.
Yeah.
My rule is var everywhere, and I tell you why. Because I think that the Oracle engineers assume we don't have IDEs. If you have an IDE and you hover over the var, you see the type. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it is true. Without an IDE, it's really hard to tell what happens. With an IDE, the code is more concise, but I have no problem to see the type because I can hover over my field. And I use right now Visual Studio Code, by the way. It works great. So really, I use Visual Studio Code for years and it works. And IntelliJ is even better, or NetBeans. Yeah. If you hover over the thing, you see the type for me done. So I have var everywhere. And in some cases, if you have Lambda on the left side, you need to know the runnable. So I'm really sad that it doesn't work. It's because if I have a Lambda, of course I cannot know. So if I Lambda on the right side, I have to say runnable run equals my Lambda code. This is a little bit sad. But I thought maybe in such cases, they can just pick runnable, right? Or something. This would be cool to have.
No, there can't be ambiguity. You do need to say what it is.
Yeah, but we could have one ambiguous executor interface.
I'm between. I do use var sometimes when it makes it more readable.
I use right now var for everything, and I'm happy. Wow. I have to tell you, it works good, and I can have longer variable names, which I appreciate more because there's more left.
That's true.
That's true. And I like it. Maybe it is completely wrong, but I like it. Right?
Okay. Interesting point of view.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some other small changes project from the JEP 213, which is Project Coin. A bunch of things there.
Okay, Coin is still alive. Cool.
No, it's a new project. It's not the old Project Coin. It's the new Project Coin.
Okay.
There was, for example, private interface methods, which I've never used.
Are they private interface methods?
Yes, since Java 9. Since Java 9.
Java 9 is even... Okay, because I actually wanted to do this yesterday. I needed actually private interface method. And don't need it really. I mean, what they are useful? If you have Java interface, you're talking about Java interface, right?
Yeah, interface, yeah.
And I use interfaces a lot, but sometimes an interface method calls another interface method, and I would like that this method is not offered for, auto-completion.
Yeah. You can make it private, you can make it private static.
Okay, then I will refactor the code from yesterday. So,
which is funny, because I haven't found a use case for it yet. In fact, the first time I actually saw it in the JDK was in September last year in the match results interface.
How called?
Java to regex match results.
Okay.
First time I actually saw
regex. Regex are crazy slow in Java, right?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I mean, but this is slow, like really slow. So you don't need, flight control to find it out. As I mean, if I have 300 strings with regex, and this is not that crazy regex, and it took no kidding, 10 seconds to do something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very, very slow.
Mm-hmm.
Very slow. So...
But there's another JEP to solve it, They started JEP improve regex. This would be your investigation.
They actually improved the formatting. So if you have the string formatting, percentage S and percentage D and so on.
Yeah.
They've made that about 3 times faster in Java, I don't know, somewhere 17 or something.
Very good, because I use it all the time.
But only if you have very simple expressions like percentage S, percentage D. But if you say, for example, percentage dot
One.
D or comma D or 0.0 D, then it won't be fast.
No, S and D. This is what I do a lot. Mm-hmm. Cool.
Yeah, that's what I do as well.
And what I also do a lot is printf, I have to admit. Also cool. System.out.printf.
And that's going to be 3 times faster now.
Wow. This is really cool.
Yeah.
So another job, I say, would you like to make my code 7 times or 3 times faster? Like, yes, okay, now we're talking, right?
Just change to Java 17.
Yeah, sure.
var handles, variable handles,
mm-hmm.
and then some other concurrency updates. And then we've got, as you mentioned, HTTP client, launching single source code programs.
Oh, it's a source code is do all the time. Java, app.java.
Yeah, when I saw that, I thought it was really lame and I'm never going to use it.
Mm-hmm.
I'd use it far more than I thought I would.
Yes. What is a little bit pity that the J shell is not as scriptable. It's really hard to invoke it from outside, right?
Yeah, it's a bit tricky. You can, but it's more difficult. I think they've improved something on that, though, but I haven't looked at it for a long time. And that's the thing. I've got JShell as well, but I haven't used JShell as much as I would have imagined, except as a fancy calculator. It's like another better version of PE.
But there's one cool feature in JShell. You can start it JShell with Java SE, so it will know all the classes. If you start JShell with Java _SE, and then you get complete Javadoc coverage. You can go there and search for whatever, and it will give you with 2 tabs the entire Javadoc. Which is cool, right? You are not impressed.
No, because I've got an IDE.
Yeah, but in IDE, you have to write the class first. And in JShell, I don't have the class. I just think there was something like file walker, right? Okay, file walker. Oh, there is the method, and then you can write the code. You can look up the Javadoc before you have the code. Still not impressed. So I'm a little bit disappointed, but we will cut it out.
Because I just type shift on it in IntelliJ.
Shift.
I start typing, and it finds it for me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, okay, you are right. So I will delete JShell then. Sorry. Now I know what happened.
JVM logging, the stack.
JVM logging, the system logger. You mean?
Yeah, the VM logging is not. I don't find very useful, except for GC logging.
I use system log or System.out.printf all the time.
No, not System.out.printf. I'm talking about the JVM logger.
Yeah, no. System.logger. System.logger you talk about.
No, I'm talking about the unified JVM logging for all the JVM events. So your operating system events, your threads being started and stopped, your garbage collection happening.
Okay, this is the difference. So what there is System.logger. There is a logging mechanism, which is pretty cool because it uses behind the scenes Java util logging. Right. And the system logger is used by your stuff. So all the internal events are using the system logger internally.
Okay.
I think we are talking about the same stuff.
We might be. I'm not
you have to look at system logger because it's really cool. My clients really love, facades to logging because there's nothing else to do. And with system logger, it comes with Java Lang system. And the cool story is it delegates to Java util logging. And the only thing I hate with Java util logging and Java system logger is that it always writes 2 lines as default.
Yeah, that is annoying.
This is really annoying. So you always have to do this simple format, and this is stupid. So I don't know why. This is really I hate it.
Yeah, I come 100%.
Hey, Heinz, this will be our next assignment for changing this. You have already you actually wanted to talk how you managed to write some OpenJDK code. But we have to postpone it to the next podcast, I would say.
That's a real pity because I was looking forward to speaking about that. Maybe next time I'll have one more contribution to the JDK.
Yeah.
And then we can do both of them. The other thing which I've added in there, which I wasn't quite sure whether I should, but I did in the end, was filter incoming serialization data.
Oh, this is also interesting. For high secure applications, right?
Yeah. What I found interesting about that is that it looked like something which somebody tried, and then they wouldn't really, continue with it. Mm-hmm. It's like some government organization wanted it, and so they put it in, but then they never really continued with it. But actually, they've continued developing that particular feature. Mm-hmm. So that sort of gives a hint that it is of more practical use than it appears at first glance.
You may be aware that the BA WebLogic server, there was vulnerability. They hacked it with serializable back then. There was Glava Security or a page which published that. And I can imagine all the application servers back then needed this feature, right? Because, and this is why it took attention.
That could be the reason why.
Yeah. Hey, Heinz, I would say we have to record another podcast. It will be even better organized than this one, and we will talk about your contribution to JDK.
I don't think you're talking about something which is possible. I mean, this was really
of course impossible, but we always should be. How it's called Kanban. The next time it's be a little bit better. Maybe I will cut out, the driving part of through the woods.
No, leave it all in. It's fine, especially at the beginning of the podcast.
yeah, this will stay there because you surprised me. Really fun to where people can find your courses. You send me the links, of course, but
specialists.eu.
.eu from South Africa. So EU from South Africa.
From Greece. From Greece.
From Greece.
Greece is still part of the EU. Don't forget.
You're right. But you are from South Africa, so this is what I always forget.
Yeah. We met when I was living in South Africa. That's right.
Cool. And I would say thank you. It was lots of fun this time.
A lot of fun, of course. It always is.
See you next time.